country is reaching its boiling point, and no one at the top seemed prepared to deal with it. A 23-blade knife. That's what it took to end Rhiannon White's life in a senseless, brutal killing that now stands as a grim symbol of where things are headed. But it's not just the act itself, it's what followed. The attacker reportedly celebrated, smiling, triumphant. That single moment has echoed far beyond the crime scene. It's burned into the public's memory as a clear sign that the line between justice and disorder has collapsed. With tensions rising across the UK and thousands taking to the streets of London right now, it's more important than ever to see the full picture. If you want to stay updated on the situation as it unfolds, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm covering the angles the mainstream media might miss, like this video if you believe in unfiltered reporting. The video that broke this story doesn't tiptoe around it. It lays everything out: escalating violence, overcrowded prisons, a justice system that barely functions, and a government that seems more concerned with optics than safety. It's not exaggeration. It's not hysteria. It's fact. Crime isn't just rising, it's accelerating. Knife attacks, machete rampages, sexual assaults. Thousands every month. Over 50,000 stabbings a year. 210,000 sexual assaults. That's one violent incident every 10 minutes. And the people meant to protect you, their hands are tied, or they are too overwhelmed to respond. So what does the government do? They let violent offenders out early. The SDS-40 early release scheme isn't a fringe issue, it's official policy. Tens of thousands of prisoners, many with violent records, are being set free before serving their full sentences. Not because they are rehabilitated, not because they've earned it, but because there's physically no space to keep them. Prisons are full. The system's bursting at the seams. And with no plan to expand capacity, the government solution is to open the gates and hope nothing worse happens. But something worse is happening. Because while early releases make room, that space isn't for less dangerous offenders. It's for new arrivals. Illegal migrants, arriving across the channel in record numbers, often without documents, IDs, or any clear background checks. The border force can't keep up. Processing centers are overrun. And the rest of the country's infrastructure, schools, hospitals, housing, is feeling the crush. Thousands arrive each day. There's no system that can keep pace. Hotels are being converted into shelters. Not hostels or shared housing, but fully catered hotels, paid for by the public. Luxury accommodation for people whose identities can't even be verified. At the same time, elderly citizens, some who fought in wars, paid taxes their whole lives, are being told there's no money left for winter fuel payments. The numbers are staggering. Billions spent each year on migrant housing. Meanwhile, pensioners are shivering in homes they can't afford to heat. The government says it's managing priorities. But the message to the public is clear: you come last. And that anger, it's not just simmering, it's spilling into the streets. I know things feel really heavy in the UK right now. There's a lot of division and noise on the streets, but I want this channel to be a place where we can come together. If you want to be part of a supportive community, please subscribe. And like this video to show some love to everyone feeling anxious about the state of things right now. Stay safe out there, everyone. Protests have erupted nationwide. And they're not polite. They're not symbolic. These are mass outcries. Crowds clashing with police. Public property defaced. Roads blocked. Why? Because people don't believe they are being heard. And they are right. Every time concerns are raised, they are dismissed as bigotry or fear-mongering. But this isn't about politics. This isn't about ideology. It's about survival. The right to feel safe in your own country. The expectation that criminals stay behind bars. The belief that your government prioritizes your welfare. Those aren't controversial. They are foundational. And right now, they're all crumbling. The UK's laws on self-defense are a major flashpoint. Here's what the video exposes. While violent offenders carry knives, machetes, and more, law-abiding citizens are banned from carrying even non-lethal protection. Pepper spray? Illegal. Stun guns? Also illegal. And if you're caught with either, even in a desperate attempt to protect yourself, you're the one facing prosecution. It's absurd. It's dangerous. And it's a law. Meanwhile, criminals know the system. They know the restrictions. They know the police are under-resourced. And they take full advantage. Every city, every town has its own horror story now. Young women afraid to walk home. Parents terrified to let their kids out after dark. Business owners sleeping in their shops because the thefts won't stop. And on top of that, the video draws attention to what many are calling a two-tier justice system. Foreign nationals, especially those entering the UK illegally, are getting lighter sentences for the same crimes that would see British citizens harshly punished. In many cases, the reason is bureaucratic confusion. No clear identity, no proof of age, no criminal record on file. So they are treated as minors or given the benefit of the doubt. Meanwhile, native-born Brits are being slapped with severe penalties for far less. A fight in a pub? Jail time. Online speech? Legal charges. Defend yourself in your own home? Good luck explaining that to the judge. It's not justice. It's imbalance. And it's driving a wedge right through the heart of society. And then there's the economic toll. Because none of this comes cheap. Housing thousands of undocumented migrants in hotels isn't free. It's draining billions from public funds. At the same time, services for British citizens are being cut. Winter benefits gone. Social programs scaled back. Healthcare rationed. Public housing wait lists stretching into years. There's no money for the people who built the system. But there's always money for the next busload of arrivals. That's a perception. And for many, perception has become reality. So when protests break out, when people take to the streets demanding basic protection, it's not some fringe movement. You've seen the headlines, but the atmosphere down here is completely different. Subscribe so you don't miss the raw footage I'm releasing later this week, and like this video to help push this unfiltered reporting up the algorithm. It's a population pushed past its limit, and still, the leadership doubles down. They repeat the same empty lines about community unity and inclusive policies, but they refuse to answer the real questions. Why is self-defense illegal? Why are violent prisoners being released early? Why are migrants without IDs treated better than pensioners? Why are crime victims punished for defending themselves? Why are ordinary citizens footing the bill for a system that no longer protects them? The silence is deafening. The video doesn't offer a sugar-coated solution. It's not about left or right. It's about whether Britain is willing to confront its failures before things spiral even further. And they are spiraling. Rising violence. Disintegrating trust. A justice system that's lost control. A government more afraid of offending political narratives than protecting its people. You don't have to look far to see the cracks. They're everywhere. The core message is this. The public contract, the one between state and citizen, is broken. Safety isn't guaranteed. Justice isn't equal. Welfare isn't distributed fairly. And unless that changes, the chaos will only get worse. That's not alarmism. That's the trajectory. And it's not sustainable. The UK is at a crossroads. Continue down this path, and societal collapse isn't some abstract threat. It's a matter of time. Or make real, immediate changes. Fix the legal system. Restore order. Enforce the law. And prioritize citizens. The choice is still there, but not for long. If you're watching this and feel like everything you thought was protected is now at risk, you're not overreacting. You're paying attention. So let's keep that conversation going. Share this video. Leave a comment. What's happening where you live? Are you seeing the same problems? Is your community speaking up? Hit subscribe if you want more truth without the spin, because we'll keep exposing the failures they don't want you to see. This isn't just news anymore. It's a warning, and everyone needs to hear it. The warning signs are everywhere. They're in the police reports that don't make national headlines. They're in the CCTV footage you scroll past online. They're in the stories your friends whisper after dark. The country doesn't just feel different. It is different. More violent. More divided. More uncertain. And at the center of it all is a government that looks paralyzed, pretending things are under control while the public can see clearly that they aren't. The people are being gaslit, told that the rising crime is a blip, that the anger is overblown, that Britain is still safe. But the data says otherwise. The video makes it undeniable. With over 50,000 stabbings and around 210,000 sexual assaults per year, that's not just a wave. That's a national emergency. Violence is becoming so frequent, it's almost routine. and routine violence, with tensions rising across the UK and thousands taking to the streets of London right now, it's more important than ever to see the full picture. If you want to stay updated on the situation as it unfolds, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm covering the angles the mainstream media might miss, like this video if you believe in unfiltered reporting. That's the kind of thing you expect in a failed state, not a developed nation. And the most damning part? There's no credible plan to fix it. Instead, the government is relying on policies that actively make things worse. Take the SDS-40 scheme. Releasing violent prisoners early because there's no room left in the system? That's not a solution, that's surrender. And it's not just a few cases. It's tens of thousands. People with violent records back on the streets while the justice system shrugs. And why is there no room in prisons? Because the infrastructure is overwhelmed. Overcrowding, understaffing, inadequate facilities, and the continuous arrival of new illegal migrants, many of whom can't be properly processed due to lack of documentation, is only adding to the strain. This isn't about immigration as a concept. This is about management. Or, in this case, the complete lack of it. Thousands are arriving weekly, with no way to verify who they are or where they come from. No proof of age, no criminal record checks. Some claim to be minors, but without paperwork, there's no way to know. The result? Adult men placed in facilities meant for children, or processed through lenient legal channels because the system can't confirm their identity. It's chaos, systemic chaos, and yet the support they receive is astonishing. Fully paid hotel stays, free meals a day, medical services, legal representation, all funded by taxpayers, while long-time British citizens are being told to cut back, do less, and accept temporary hardship as a new normal. That contrast is what's fueling the outrage. It's not about skin color, origin, or background. It's about fairness. When British pensioners have their fuel payments cut while illegal entrants are put up in four-star hotels, people notice. And they should, because that's not just tone-deaf, it's insulting. The video doesn't shy away from that. It shows the split in stark detail. The elderly freezing in their homes while resources are poured into those who have contributed nothing to the system. The message? If you've worked hard, paid in, followed the rules, you're now at the back of the line. And when people dare to say this out loud, they're attacked, accused of being hateful, shut down. But they're not hateful. They're fed up. They're watching a system crumble. One that seems to punish the innocent, reward the reckless, and hand off national responsibility to a rotating cast of unaccountable bureaucrats. And don't think for a second that the public doesn't see the double standards. British citizens who commit minor offenses, verbal arguments, online posts, petty theft, are often prosecuted aggressively. But foreign nationals with violent records are regularly given reduced sentences, or even allowed to remain in the country, because deportation is not in the public interest or violates some vague human rights clause. I know things feel really heavy in the UK right now. There's a lot of division and noise on the streets, but I want this channel to be a place where we can come together. If you want to be part of a supportive community, please subscribe. And like this video to show some love to everyone feeling anxious about the state of things right now. Stay safe out there, everyone. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's government policy, confirmed in court rulings, press releases, and statements from politicians who seem more concerned with avoiding international criticism than keeping their own streets safe. And it's not just courtrooms feeling the strain. It's every level of public service. Hospitals, overcrowded. Ambulances, delayed. Police, underfunded and overstretched. Schools, crammed beyond capacity. And the pressure is growing. At some point, the foundation gives way. And still, when people protest, when they demand protection, accountability, and fair policies, they are portrayed as a problem. They are extreme. They are dangerous. Never mind the fact that what they are asking for is simple: working infrastructure, safe neighborhoods, and a government that puts citizens first. The idea that asking for basic safety makes you controversial tells you everything you need to know about the current state of things. And now, the unrest is spreading. These aren't fringe demonstrations. These are mass gatherings. People from all walks of life coming together not because they share a political label, but because they share a sense of betrayal, a growing fear that if they don't act now, they might not have the chance later. And you can feel it. This isn't a passing trend. It's a reckoning, a slow but steady uprising of people who've been pushed too far for too long. They are tired of watching the rules applied differently to different people, tired of watching violent offenders walk free, tired of being told that their concerns are unfounded while they watch their own communities decline. And here's what makes this moment so critical. Once public trust is gone, it doesn't come back easily. People no longer trust the courts. They no longer trust the police. They no longer trust their elected officials. That level of distrust is dangerous, not just socially, but structurally. When a nation's institutions no longer function for the majority, that nation begins to fracture. That's not hypothetical, it's historical. And Britain is heading in that direction at a terrifying pace. But it's not too late. That's the other side of this video's message. It's a warning, but it's also a demand. Change is still possible, but only if it's immediate, unapologetic, and sweeping. End the SDS-40 early release program. Enforce existing laws consistently. Deport violent offenders who have no legal right to remain. Provide equal sentencing standards regardless of nationality. Legalize basic self-defense tools like pepper spray or tasers. And stop prioritizing the comfort of illegal entrants over the survival of tax-paying citizens. These aren't radical ideas. They are common sense. And they are long overdue. Because at this point, what's the alternative? Keep the status quo? Keep pretending things are fine while the crime stats get worse? You've seen the headlines, but the atmosphere down here is completely different. Subscribe so you don't miss the raw footage I'm releasing later this week. And like this video to help push this unfiltered reporting up the algorithm. The protests get louder and the people get angrier. That's not a solution. That's a countdown. So if you're watching this and thinking, it can't really be this bad, look again. The footage exists. The numbers exist. The policies are public. And the consequences are playing out right now. This isn't drama. This isn't theory. It's Britain in 2025. And if the government won't step up, the people will speak louder. The truth is, no one's coming to fix it for you. Not the polished officials behind podiums, not the carefully worded press statements, not the parliamentary debates packed with rehearsed outrage. They all sound the same now. We hear your concerns. We're working on solutions. This is a complex issue. But the streets don't care about speeches. And neither do the people living in fear every day while being told to be more patient, more tolerant, more quiet. Patience is running out. The public isn't just tired, they're waking up. Because what's happening right now isn't about policy disagreements or political rivalry. It's about the very foundation of society, the right to live in safety, to have a government that protects you, to expect that criminals will face consequences and that citizens won't be punished for trying to stay alive. That basic trust has been shattered. It's not dramatic to say that the social contract between the people and the state is broken. What else can you call it when citizens are defenseless by law, attacked in public, and left to pick up the pieces alone? This isn't a story about isolated mistakes. It's not about one bad policy or one bad minister. This is systemic. It's about a pattern of decisions that prioritize everything except the safety, rights, and well-being of the people who make the country run. And while the working class tightens their belts and pensioners ration heat in the dead of winter, the government signs off on luxury hotel stays for people who broke the law to get into the country. Let that sink in. It's no wonder trust is evaporating. It's no wonder the protests are growing. And it's no wonder people are demanding real, immediate reform. Because it's not just about being angry, it's about survival. About reclaiming a country that's been handed over to chaos in the name of optics and political theater. And still, the system gaslights you. You talk about rising crime, you're called reactionary. You mention double standards in the courts, you're labeled divisive. You question the logic behind the early release scheme, and suddenly you're the problem, not the violent offender who just got out 6 years early. That's what makes this moment so dangerous. The people who built the system, who played by the rules, paid into it, defended it, are being pushed out of it. Silently. Slowly, but undeniably. So, what do you do when you're not being protected? When speaking out makes you a target, and staying silent makes you complicit. With tensions rising across the UK and thousands taking to the streets of London right now, it's more important than ever to see the full picture. If you want to stay updated on the situation as it unfolds, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm covering the angles the mainstream media might miss, like this video if you believe in unfiltered reporting. You tell the truth anyway. The video didn't sugarcoat anything. It didn't play the balance game or pad the facts with political fluff. It laid it bare. Britain is unraveling, not because of some natural disaster or foreign invasion, but because the people in charge let it happen. They opened the doors with no plan. They flooded an already struggling infrastructure. They decriminalized dysfunction by letting violent criminals back on the street. And then they asked the public to behave while everything fell apart. You can't criminalize self-defense, weaken the courts, flood the system with unvetted arrivals, cut funding to essential services, and still act confused when the streets start burning. And they are burning. Maybe not literally everywhere. Not yet. But politically, culturally, economically, the fire's already spreading. The unrest, the anger, the hopelessness, it's all fuel. And the government's response? More kerosene. Policies that benefit no one but criminals and opportunists. Leadership that ducks accountability. A legal system where justice depends more on paperwork than facts. And a population that being told their suffering is a small price to pay for some greater ideological goal. But whose goal? Because it certainly isn't yours. If you're working every day, playing by the rules, trying to build something in this mess, you're not benefiting from any of this. You're being taxed more, paid less, and expected to stay silent while your rights get stripped and your streets become war zones. And if you dare to push back, you're accused of fueling division. Division? The country's already divided. Divided between those who are protected by the system and those who are crushed by it. Between those who are allowed to speak freely and those who are punished for even questioning the narrative. Between criminals emboldened by leniency and citizens afraid to defend themselves. The reality is, this isn't sustainable. You can't run a country like this. Not for long. Because when the people lose faith in the system, they stop following its rules. They stop trusting its words. They start taking things into their own hands, not because they want to, but because they feel like they have to. And we're getting dangerously close to that point. You can already see the warning signs. Protests turning violent. Communities turning inward. A slow, creeping acceptance that the state can't, or won't, keep you safe. And once that becomes a norm, there's no coming back easily, because what replaces that trust? Vigilantism, civil unrest, chaos. That's not a theory. It's a pattern. You can trace it in every society that ignored the red flags until it was too late. But here's what makes this different. The people are awake now. They've seen the crime. They've seen the double standards. They've seen their leaders protect everyone except them. And they're no longer willing to play along. They're asking questions. Loud ones, dangerous ones, the kind that don't get answered in polished press briefings. Like, why are illegal migrants given better housing than struggling British citizens? Why are basic self-defense tools outlawed in a country with violent crime every 10 minutes? Why are courts more concerned about the human rights of criminals than the safety of the victims? Why is dissent treated like a threat, while actual threats walk free? These aren't rhetorical. These are urgent. And if no one in power is willing to answer them, then the public will answer them in their own way. That's where we are now. This isn't a fringe movement. This isn't a moral panic. This is a breaking point of a nation that's been pushed too far. And the people in power can either fix the mess, or they can get out of the way. Because the days of silence are over. The days of pretending this is just a phase are over. And if they think the public is going to forget the 23-blade attack, the laughing murderer, the packed hotels, the cancelled fuel payments, and the early release of violent prisoners, they are delusional. We won't forget, and we won't stop talking. They want you to move on, to scroll past it, to forget. Another stabbing, just a statistic. Another protest, fringe radicals. Another elderly pensioner freezing in their home while the government foots the bill for luxury migrant housing. Just unfortunate optics. But it's not just optics. It's real. And the people living through this collapse aren't figures on a spreadsheet or faces in a crowd. They're your neighbors, your family, you. And when you see it, when you really see what's happening, the system doesn't want you to talk about it. Because the more people who speak up, the harder it becomes to cover up. And this isn't the kind of dysfunction you can spin away with another carefully worded press release. The video laid it out with brutal clarity. A country on edge, a justice system losing its grip, borders wide open, and a public that's been muzzled for so long, it's now erupting. Thousands of violent offenders, let out early, not because they reformed, not because they deserve a second chance, but because there simply isn't space to keep them locked up. Let that sink in. This isn't some administrative fluke. This is policy, a government decision to sacrifice public safety in favor of making room, not building more prisons, not fixing the sentencing system, just opening the gates and hoping no one notices. But people have noticed, and they are not just angry, they are frightened. Because it's not just statistics. It's not just one more case. It's walking home and not feeling safe. It's seeing police patrols disappear while machete attacks increase. It's knowing the man who just got out of prison early might be back on your street. No warning, no consequences, no accountability. And the cherry on top, this is all happening while more people enter the system. Not through legal immigration channels, not with background checks or paperwork, but through dinghies, beaches, and backdoors. Thousands every week, many claiming to be minors, many without identification. And somehow, even then, they are prioritized. Luxury hotels, full catering, private medical access, legal protections most Brits couldn't even dream of, and all of it paid for by you, while your nan gets a winter fuel payment cut, while your child waits 6 months for an NHS appointment, while your friend gets laid off from a job that just isn't funded anymore. It's not just mismanagement, it's betrayal, and people are done whispering about it. The protests are louder, the outrage is sharper, and the questions, finally, are being asked out loud. Why are we protecting criminals over citizens? Why are non-lethal self-defense tools illegal in one of the most violent periods in modern UK history? Why are elderly people being left to suffer while billions are pumped into schemes that benefit people who haven't contributed a single pound in tax? Why are violent migrants allowed to stay, even after assault or rape convictions, because deporting them might violate their human rights? Whose rights matter more? Because based on current policy, it's not yours. The justice system is in complete disarray. The video made that impossible to ignore. British citizens caught up in minor altercations are seeing jail time. People charged for speech online, prosecuted for saying the wrong thing, locked up for defending themselves. And yet, foreign offenders with no ID, false age claims, and violent records? Leniency, compassion, reintegration plans. It's not justice. It's a hierarchy. And the people at the bottom, the ones who follow the rules, pay their taxes, go to work, stay quiet, do everything right, they're the ones being punished. Again and again. And it's not that the government doesn't know. It's that they don't care. They see the protests. They read the reports. They hear the fury. And their response? More of the same. More early releases. More migrant accommodations. More restrictions on citizens' ability to protect themselves. In what world does that make sense? Because here's what happens when people feel cornered. They stop believing. They stop waiting. They start acting. That's what you're seeing now, across cities, towns, and rural communities. Not just angry mobs, but ordinary people saying, no more. They are watching as knife crime becomes an accepted part of city life, as gangs recruit teenagers who should be thinking about exams, not carrying blades, as public trust in police collapses because they are too stretched to respond to burglaries, but always have time to arrest someone over a tweet. It's madness, but it's deliberate. This isn't random decay. This is a result of years of policies designed to look good instead of do good. Years of treating criminals like misunderstood victims. Years of calling outrage racism to silence debate. Years of blaming austerity while pouring money into programs that don't protect a single citizen. And now, the social fabric is ripping apart. Tensions are rising. People are retreating into fear, into distrust, into isolation. Because who do you turn to when the people in charge won't listen? And who do you rely on when you're legally barred from defending yourself? That's the sick irony of it all. The government tells you, call the police. But what if they can't come? Trust the courts. But what if they side with your attacker? Wait for reform. But what if the next attack doesn't wait? This is a reality now. A country that lectures you on safety while leaving you exposed. That boasts about human rights while ignoring yours. That criminalizes defense and legalizes dysfunction. And in the end, it's not about political sides. It's not about left versus right. It's about protection. It's about survival. Because you shouldn't need a criminal record to be taken seriously. You shouldn't need to be a political talking point to get help. You shouldn't need to choose between following the law and staying alive. And yet, that's a choice more people face every day. So here's what needs to happen. Now, legalize non-lethal self-defense. Pepper spray, tasers, alarms at work. End early release of violent offenders. Immediately. Prioritize deportation of criminals who are in the country illegally, regardless of age or claims of asylum. Reinstate funding for services that actually support citizens, housing, healthcare, pensions. And stop pretending this isn't a crisis. It is. The numbers prove it. The public knows it. The only ones still pretending are the ones hiding behind parliamentary desks and press conferences. But time is running out. People are awake now, and they're not going back to sleep. It's no longer enough to be aware. Awareness without action is just watching the fire burn. And the fire is spreading. You see it every day now. The slow erosion of things that used to feel certain. Things that used to be guaranteed. Like public safety. Or the idea that violent criminals would stay locked up. Or that your taxes would go toward helping your own community. That's gone. The social contract, where you follow the rules, and in return, your government protects you. That contract has been ripped to shreds. Not in one moment, but piece by piece, decision by decision. And now, people are waking up to realize they've been left holding nothing but empty promises and escalating threats. It's not just major cities anymore. It's small towns, quiet suburbs, rural areas that were once immune to this kind of violence. No one's untouched. No one's unaffected. And yet, the same cycle continues. A brutal stabbing, a release offender, a protest, a carefully worded government statement, then silence, until the next attack. This isn't normal. It should never be normal. And yet, it's being normalized. In the media, in parliament, even in conversations with people too afraid to say what they really think. Because that's another piece of the collapse, the fear of speaking the truth. The second you bring up crime, immigration, or the justice system, you're accused of being extreme. As if wanting to feel safe in your own country is radical. As if pointing out that a murderer was released early under a government policy is hateful. As if asking why the elderly are choosing between heat and food while migrants stay in full-service hotels is controversial. It's not controversial. It's reality. The kind of reality that doesn't care how uncomfortable it makes people feel. Because uncomfortable is better than unsafe. And right now, people are both. They are locking their doors earlier, avoiding public transport after dark, carrying keys between their fingers, teaching their kids not just stranger danger, but how to run, how to stay in groups, how to keep their heads down. And the government wants to talk about tolerance? What happened to tolerance for the elderly freezing in flats because their support got slashed? What happened to tolerance for working-class families who've watched their neighborhoods decay while services disappear? What about the women being told not to walk alone at night, because God forbid they try to protect themselves? Where's the empathy for them? Because it's hard to hear about compassion when that compassion always seems to be pointed somewhere else. You don't fix this with slogans. You don't rebuild trust with Twitter statements and press junkets. You fix this by taking action, by actually prioritizing your own citizens, by enforcing the law, by punishing criminals, by protecting the innocent, by ensuring people can walk to the store without wondering if they'll make it home. Until that happens, the anger won't fade, the protest won't stop, and the chaos won't slow down. Because the message from the people is loud now. We're done being ignored. You can't police speech harder than you police crime and expect people to stay quiet. You can't cut pensions while funding hotel for rule breakers and expect applause. You can't disarm your own citizens, release violent offenders early, ignore rising crime stats, and still pretend you have it under control. That's not leadership. That's negligence. And the people know it. So speak. Comment. Tell the truth, even if they don't like it. Because silence is what got us here, and silence won't save us now. Share this video. Open someone's eyes. Force the conversation. Because if this isn't stopped, the next generation won't be asking what happened to Britain. They'll be asking why no one stopped it. And subscribe. Because as long as this system keeps failing, we'll be here, saying what they won't. Loud, clear, and unfiltered. No spin. No fear. Just the truth.